Do you happen to have a belief you wish to discuss?
Astrology.
What do we mean by astrology?
I am a professional astrologer, and I believe that it is a phenomenon that cannot be measured quantitatively the way we do with so much of our what is now science, like the idea of science. But I still believe in the phenomena of the energy that works, sets it out constantly in play, kind of dictating the seasons and the cycles of our experiences and how it can reflect. It can be reflected by the principle as above, so below, and as within, so without. I believe that astrology is something that works every day in the world in ways that many of us are unaware because we're immersed in the experiment that it's essentially describing.
Thank you for that. And it's interesting because I've talked to different people about astrology, and people have different, definitions of what it is, so I always make sure I'm understanding what you're talking about. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Let's say on a scale from 1 to 7, how confident are you that this belief in astrology is true and real?
8. 7
8 out of
for
7?
sure. Yeah, an 8 out of 7.
And on a scale from 1 to 7, how important is it for you to believe in true things that are true and real?
That's a good question. I would say probably a 5. I like
that you're confident that astrology is a true belief, but whether it is true or not is not as important.
Yep. That is what I believe about it. I believe that it's not something that everybody is going to connect with, and some people need more concrete answers to things, and astrology cannot necessarily give you the fine details of what you should have for breakfast or which route to take to work, which I think a lot of people want to project onto it. So while I believe that astrology is an 8 out of 7, is working, is true, is real all the time, I also have a very active relationship with my observation of it.
If someone was to ask you, Laurel, the pronounce your name right, what is the primary reason why you believe the belief? What would you tell them?
I see it every day. I experience it every day.
Experience.
Mm-hmm.
Personal experience that it is true.
Yes.
All right. This maybe will help me. Let's suppose Jane is sitting next to you, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, well, I do know why. Jane doesn't believe in astrology, and the reason why she doesn't believe it is she hasn't had that personal experience. She's had a different personal experience that has showed her, for whatever reason, that astrology is not true and real. You've had that personal experience. I know you've had that personal experience. I'm a third person. Mm-hmm. I'm hearing you and Jane talk. Is there any way I could know maybe what's true and real in the world, or maybe get a little closer to a true belief?
That's a really great question, and it's hard to, with something like astrology that is not, does not necessarily take a concrete, tangible form right before our eyes in a moment where you're like, I can prove it's real, and here is how. Boom, let me show you my proof right there. I would encourage someone to speak with a trained astrologer or somebody who has done work and study into
and if
the
that
pursuit.
person speaks to the trained astrologer and that person comes to the conclusion that like Jane does, that astrology is not real, does that mean astrology is not real?
No, it's not real to them.
It's not real to them?
Yeah.
Can it be real and not real at the same time?
Absolutely. Everything is real and not real at the same time.
Let me ask a question about that.
Sure.
So I have a box of Mentos here. Let's say that there's either an even or odd number of Mentos in this box. I don't know what the answer is. I presume you don't know what the answer is. But could it be said that there's either an even or odd number of Mentos in this box?
At this point, there is either an even or odd number of Mentos because we do not know at this moment.
They're both in here?
Both of the Schrodinger's box, in a way.
So you're saying there are both an even or odd number of Mentos in this box?
Until it's observed.
How does observing it change the number in the box?
We would count them and we would know the number in the box.
Is it the same number whether I count it or not?
Is it, though? I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at. We can't know a thing until we are able to see it in action, to see the measurement of it. We might be told there's 100 Mentos in that box, but maybe that's the box where the machine...
So until I count it, there is both an even or odd number of Mentos in this box. And I guess that means that your belief, what you're telling me, is both true and not true at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess extrapolating from that, all beliefs are true.
To an extent they are, because I believe that it has our reality is based on our perceptions of it. And so what is true, and a very visceral truth in my world, astrology, for example, may not be a visceral truth in somebody else's world because they're not observing it, they're not interacting with it, it's not part of how their mind is chosen to link into the rest of the energy.
Yeah. I'm just curious of how, whether I count the Mentos or not, how that relates to how many. Just help me understand that. I'm really trying to understand like how, whether I count these or not, how that reflects how many number, whether there's an even or odd number in the box or not.
Well, right now we don't know if there's an even or an odd number inside of that box.
But does whether we know or not make a difference to how many there are in there?
Well, it's hard. I guess not technically, but I am a very large advocate of the observation of things. You know, that's part of what makes them real.
Can you and I not exist in the world for whatever reason, and there's still either an even or odd, whatever it is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to get at is that I'm trying to square that in my head, how maybe there's an objective truth there that doesn't matter what I believe about it, it's just true, versus a truth that depends on what I want it to be true.
Well, it's very hard to understand the objective truth of even the idea objective truth, because everybody has their own set of truths and conditions and terms that are attached to what makes something true to them.
I guess when I think about truth, I think of it in a sense that it doesn't matter what I think about it, it doesn't matter what you think about it, the thing is true.
Who said it, though?
What's that?
Who decided that?
Nobody.
Okay.
No, I guess what I'm saying is that it's not person dependent. It doesn't depend on people for that thing to be true.
Right.
But
does it not depend on people to observe that truth?
The idea would be, here's an example, like the Earth circles the sun.
Yes.
Do you believe that?
Absolutely.
And if there were no people at all in the world to observe it, that would still be true.
Yes, it would be, because we've been able to observe it from
no
us,
people,
though.
if there were no people.
We
ever.
would think that would still be true, but we cannot know that truth because that's not what our experience is.
No experience. There's no person's experience. So let's say no one's ever existed in the world. There's no people to ever experience it. Could we say that the Earth would still circle the sun?
Well, I don't think we would need to say that at all, because there's no one to experience it.
I understand what you're saying.
And I understand what you're saying. I'm sticking to my guns on that.
Okay, tell me your guns.
I did. It wouldn't matter because there's nothing to be observed. There's no one to do the observing.
You're saying it wouldn't matter.
No.
Okay.
That truth wouldn't matter if there's nobody to observe it.
Okay. I understand you're saying it wouldn't matter, but if no one was there to observe it, would it be true?
I cannot say with certainty if that would be true or not, because it would be something so beyond my conception.
So if no humans existed in the world, then we couldn't say that the Earth would circle the sun.
If no humans existed, there would be no one to say that statement, correct?
Not whether someone's there to say it, whether it is true.
I think this is where we're hitting our divide, because I believe that truth is very much a human construct.
So you think truth depends on people?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay. That whether there's an even or odd number of Mentos, it depends. That completely depends on what the person thinks about it. So I can believe whatever I want to believe, and that makes it true.
It makes it true for that person, like in the subjective, individualized experience.
If I get on
yes.
top of this building and I believe I can fly, and I'll jump, and it's true for me.
It's true for you.
And I will fly.
And it's not true for everyone else.
But it's true for me.
Right, but it's
and
true
I will
for
fly,
you. Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I will fly.
Yeah.
Because it's true for me.
For a second, you
Is
will.
that how beliefs work?
Many of them, yes. Many of them, yes.